Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Generation. I'm your host, Madison Fisher. Right now is a really interesting time for body standards, right? The leading women in this industry have been dictating what bodies should look like for over a decade. You know who I'm talking about. They talk like this, and like they can't even, and they think that pigs are chickens. The Kardashians, of course. And if you've been keeping up with them, you probably have a headache. Not because of their nasally voices, but because, how do I put this? They're fake. At least that was the case for Kim K before she decided to embrace her natural body. She took out her butt implants, her hip injections, her thigh additions. And can you imagine spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these surgeries and then just reversing it? I'm all for people doing what they want with their lives. If you want bigger boobs, go for it. If you want to suck out all the fat in your stomach, have at her. If you want the biggest lips humanly possible for the best duck selfie for your Instagram profile, go for it. You have every right to do so. What I find hilarious about this whole situation is that people actually care about what this is. Like, they care that she's gone and reversed all her implants. And I mean, this is somebody whose body has been on a platform for over a decade. She got famous from a sex tape, and it wasn't even that entertaining. There is a literal uproar from women about this. Women, the ones that preach about loving women's bodies, health at every size, supporting women's choice, and I'm all for those statements. So you can't just preach that and then cast a stone at a woman for doing what she wants with her body. You know what that's called? A double standard! And back to my original point, why do we care so much? There are so many other things we should be talking about, like the fact that Kendall Jenner, Kim K's sister, can't cut a cucumber. Think about that. Her net worth is $45 million, and she can't cut a cucumber. But let's move on to the U.S. Senate, a topic that truly matters to Canadians. America, I need some answers. Why did it take so long to choose your little speaker? We need answers. The speaker tried 4 times. 4 tries to get votes just to get in. And you didn't have any other choice, Republicans? They basically couldn't get themselves together long enough to decide, which put the whole House on a standstill, and really it kind of reminded me of the golden era of Trump, baiting and switching and throwing hats everywhere just so nobody notices. You guys remember that, right? Yeah. Even Joe Biden said that this was embarrassing. And that's coming from a man who has a whole Reddit page dedicated to him falling all the time. But thank goodness we live in a country with an upstanding leader like Pierre Trudeau. I mean Justin Trudeau. Nepotism babies are at large, eh? Anyways, we've got a great show for you tonight. We're going to talk about some science things where I've learned a lot from. We're going to talk about some young professional life and some fitness goals. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. And welcome back. We're here with Annabelle, a local youth to Sarnia, and we're going to be chatting about some science, some charity work, and all that good stuff. And welcome, Annabelle. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming. So what school do you go to here?
So currently I'm a grade 12 student at St. Patrick's.
Nice, St. Patrick's. So I've heard that you're kind of into like the science world. Do you find that St. Pat's offers a lot of opportunity for you?
Yes, our science department is wonderful. We have so many wonderful teachers who are really supportive of students. I can definitely say the department has lent me a lot of equipment over the years has always provided advice.
Oh, that's incredible. So how did you get into science? Like, what's your main interest, all that kind of fun stuff?
Absolutely. So my favorite field of science is limnology. And so it's the study of freshwater ecosystems and lakes in any form of inland water.
Wow. You learn something new every day.
Yes. And so I'm also very, very passionate about the environment. And I was always that little kid that asked probably far too many questions. And I love learning and also helping others. So in grade 4, I thought that the science fair would be an excellent opportunity for this. So that was the very first year I participated in the Lambton County Science Fair. And I've been an annual participant ever since. In grade 8, my project on alternative road deicers to create a more environmentally friendly and non-corrosive road deicer qualified me to be a part of Team Lambton and go to the Canada-wide Science Fair, which was just an incredible experience and made me love science and the people involved with science more and more and more. And then, of course, grade 9, we had the year of 2020 and the pandemic shutdown of all science fairs.
Yes.
And then in grade 11, I decided grade 10, decided I wanted to find a way to treat and prevent harmful algae blooms. And I learned about these teeny tiny aquatic organisms called zooplankton that actually consume algae. And so I performed a project experimenting on to compare which zooplankton consumes the most algae. And we can biomanipulate them, so increase their populations in different ecosystems. From that research, I decided I loved the topic of lemnology and these little zooplankton so much that I actually wanted to continue my research. And that project, I also went to the Canada-wide Science Fair virtually that year and by silver. And so in grade 11, I continued this research, specifically studying the genotypes of Daphnia magna, which was the most successful species from the last test. And I also did environmental condition tests. And with that project, I went to the Canada-wide Science Fair again, where I actually won the Crystal Award for Best Discovery Project, which meant that I got to represent Team Canada at the European Union Contest for Young Scientists in Leiden, Netherlands in September.
Wait. So you went to the Olympics for science?
Sort of, yes.
What?
But there's multiple of them. Because I also got to represent Canada at the Stockholm Junior Water Prize in Stockholm, Sweden in August. Now, the Stockholm Junior Water Prize is the highest accolade in the world for youth water science. The Stockholm Water Prize was actually created by the Nobel Prize Committee to be the Nobel Prize for Water, and this was the youth version of that.
So did you win the Nobel Prize for Youth?
I won the Stockholm Junior Water Prize in August.
What? I feel like I'm talking to royalty.
Oh my goodness, no, absolutely not, no.
Sorry, continue. That's amazing.
And that week was just incredible because it's hosted along World Water Week. And so myself and the other 58 wonderful finalists at the Stockholm Junior Water Prize, we all got to hang out, tour Stockholm, lots of late night movies, karaoke, nail painting, because we all got to share a hotel together. And it was just incredible. I got to meet so many professionals and learn so much about not only water science, but also water justice. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even now, I incredibly miss all of my friends from that event, even though it's only been a few months.
Oh, I can imagine.
And then I came home for 1 week, and then I left for Leiden, Netherlands for the European Union contest, which was also incredible, and I did place third there. It was wonderful being able to be surrounded by so many different youth who are passionate about changing the world and helping people through science.
That is incredible. I love the passion in your voice. Like, I probably could listen to you talk for like ever just because you sound so intelligent without sounding cocky, and that's really refreshing. So like, thank you. And as a 17-year-old, that's really hard to find with your abilities. So do you find that your passion has grown since you've been networking with other scientists?
Absolutely, because everyone always provides different ideas and different perspectives. And I love talking to them because they open your mind and expand things. So you're like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Or you'll learn that one country does this, and you're like, oh, we don't do that, but we do this. And you can see different fusions and connections. And it's being fueled by others, people's passions and desires and interests. For example, I had a group across from me in Europe, the European Union contest, UCs, and their project was on molecular biology. And their passion and enthusiasm towards molecular biology, as well as there were two, the other boys from Team Canada became friends with them, they were Team Ireland. Mm-hmm. And their project was on solving Bernoulli's principle using an alternative method. And just their passion for talking about Bernoulli's principles and little numbers, it was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, we all are able to feed back and forth off each other, and it just, I guess, fuels it even further.
That's amazing. So you sound like you're a very people-focused person. Are you like really interpersonal with like your friends and family and all that?
For the people, my friends and family, yes, I care about them deeply, and they all know I'd do anything for them. I'm very much the mom friend of all the circles I'm in, yeah. But I'm actually introverted. So while I can public speak and do events and things, I find that I'm more fueled by alone time, and I prefer to be with smaller groups.
Yeah, honestly, I feel that. A lot of people think I'm extroverted. I am not. I'm very introverted, so I feel that.
Ambiverted at best.
Yeah, there you go. So since you're so people-focused and you really care about those around you, I've heard that you're also into charity work. Would you like to talk about that?
Absolutely. So I would actually say my raison d'etre is social justice. It's actually why I love science so much.
Can you repeat that word?
Raison d'etre.
What does that mean?
It's French for like reason for being.
Okay. Again,
usually,
I'm learning a lot.
Oh, I was going to say it's like actually like a modern phrase or analogy commonly used. My apologies.
Not to me. That's okay. I love it though.
But it's the reason I love science so much is because you can use it to bring about social justice. Same for all of my passions and interests in politics as well. And so in grade 8, so that would have been 2018, I actually became the chair of the Sign Your Shoebox Project, which is a nonprofit local charity that provides holiday gifts to women impacted by homelessness and domestic abuse. So
Wow.
I've now been chair for 5 years, and I've raised probably over $70,000 and deliver over 300 gifts to local women in need each year. I always do a Christmas drive and then a International Women's Day drive and some sort of smaller collection for Mother's Day.
That is absolutely incredible. It has been such a pleasure to like sit down and talk with you. I think you're so inspiring and completely intelligent that I would like love just for you to teach me everything about the world. So thank you so much for coming on. That's all the time we have for today. But yeah, I'm impressed. I hope everyone else is impressed, and we'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. We have another exciting guest today. Mayor is here to join us. We're going to talk about some young professional stuff. How's it going, Mayor?
Good, really good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. So why don't you tell me about your like passion and drive for HR work?
Yeah, sure. So I think it really started when I was doing research in my undergraduate degree. I was in a perceptual psychology lab, and it's just kind of funny. There's a lot of different interactions that people can have, and it all seems really abstract, but people are actually really predictable, and you can find patterns in behavior and take all these abstract ideas, put them together, make a model, and it turns out if you can recreate some different, I guess, conditions, if you can recreate conditions, you can really predict people's behaviors. So if I spilt coffee on you,
Yeah.
you'd be mad, right? So it's just a simple example.
Yeah.
But if you have a specific leadership style, you can get people to trust each other more, or have a good time at work. And if you think about it, we spend maybe a quarter of our lives or a third of our lives really at work. And I thought if people are spending so much time there, you don't want to go to a sucky workplace.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so you want to go somewhere where you're comfortable and you feel like you have people that you can, be comfortable with, be happy with. And so that's really why I wanted to merge those two worlds of psychology and business and try to see what there is that I could do, maybe not on a big scale, but just for even my community, if I could contribute to my community and make people that I'm working with or people in my community enjoy their workplaces a little better and apply some of the research I had learned into real life.
Oh, that's so cool. I actually didn't expect you to say like a research point. I thought you were going to be like, I love people, and that was going to be like it. So thank you. I think that was a really refreshing take on it. So where are you working right now?
Right now I'm at Steve's in Rosema.
Oh,
So
I know Steve and Rosema.
Yeah. Okay. So I grew up in Mississauga.
Yeah, okay.
So I had no idea who this company was until I moved here and I applied, and they're like, oh, it's like a 2,000 person company, pretty huge,
Yeah.
right? So it was really cool because on my first day, my HR team brought me down still during COVID. So I went to the conference room, everybody sat on each side of the table.
Yeah.
They bought me lunch, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a pretty nice place to work. And we just started talking about, our lives and ourselves. And then the CEO walked in and he's like, oh yeah, those two on the wall there, they're our founders. I remember when I was starting out, they showed me the ropes and people started telling stories about the founders and the work they did for the community. And I was like, this is a pretty cool place.
Yeah.
I make sure when I want to work somewhere that I'm not just padding somebody's bottom line. I want to make sure I'm contributing to the community in some way. And that's how they felt too. So.
Oh, that's
I
so
thought-
cool.
yeah, I thought
So
it
I've
was
actually worked for Steve's and Rosema
Oh, okay.
3 times.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a joy every single time. I think the people
good.
that work for them are awesome. And so if you had a young person come up to you, like someone in high school, and they were interested in the career field that you were into, what would be your advice to them?
So I think HR is a pretty sensitive role. So I would say just work on skills that support that type of sensitivity. So things like being compassionate or being trustworthy if somebody comes and tells you what they're struggling with, be supportive, right? So a lot of interpersonal skills and listening, and also confidentiality and integrity. I think all those, if you work on those types of skills, or you feel like you're good with, like you said, people, right?
Yeah.
People skills, then I think it might be a good career.
That's so cool. So just to change the topic for a second, since you're from Mississauga, when you moved to Sarnia, what was the most shocking thing about Sarnia?
Oh, the vinegar hose at Albert's. I never knew that vinegar was such a huge thing here.
So out of all the things you could choose from Sarnia, you're going to talk about the vinegar hose at Albert's.
You can pour vinegar onto your food.
Yes.
That's incredible. I never knew. So the very first time, Lizards, which is closed now,
Yeah.
I went in and there were spray bottles on on the table we were sitting at. I was like, oh, they must still be cleaning this table. And then I looked around, I'm like, every table has a spray bottle. So I sprayed some and I'm like, oh, this is vinegar. And Victoria was showing me like, oh, just spray it on your fries. So I was like, oh, okay. And then we went to Albert's because the thing is, eat fries under the bridge,
You
right?
got to, yeah.
Yeah, so then I was like, what? Like, I remember staring at the hose and being like, these people love vinegar this much. And this, like, I think this one lady, cute old granny,
Yeah.
thought I was like, confused. I knew what was happening. I was just taking it all in. But she came over and she showed me how to use it. She's like, this is how you use it.
That's so
and put your salt on. And I was like, oh.
That was your Sarnia orientation.
Yeah,
That's
that
all
was
you
like,
need, and you'll
yeah.
be successful. You can move on from there.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is fantastic.
That is amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. And that's all the time we have for tonight. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And yeah, we're going to have some more guests, so stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to say that we have Samantha Mills in the room, ready to talk about some fitness stuff. How are you, Samantha?
Good, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. So talk to me about this fitness journey. You're pretty much everywhere that I see now on social media. So how did this start?
So it actually started, I was running an industrial painting company before I started
Wow.
my personal training business. So basically what happened was I just got injured. I ended up tearing all the ligaments and dislocating my wrist. So I had to go in for surgery. So I kind of was into fitness before. Like I actually used to go to the Y a lot and just do pretty much whatever. Very similar to kind of like what Rebound does and like what you guys do too in terms of like helping youth. Like I had a very not amazing or not so amazing upbringing. And so that was kind of like where I went. And then so after I got injured, I kind of like, that's where I started. But after I got injured, I really took it up with fitness because I didn't really have time to waste in terms of like, what was good to build muscle? What was like, it's like, I can't lift up a cup. Like, we got to figure this out.
Yeah, big
Right?
time, yeah.
So I just started posting, honestly, it was just to keep myself accountable. And then people kept asking for fitness plans. I ended up actually working over at Good Life as a personal trainer. And then went into like the chiro. I worked at a chiro for a while, helping some of their patients because I wanted to learn more about like low backs and spines and things like that. And then eventually it just got to the point where I was so busy with training that I just did it full time.
That's incredible. I'm a really big fitness person, and I completely agree about when you said like you can't even lift a cup.
Yeah.
And my mom had really bad knees, and so she decided to take her fitness journey when she was like in her 40s, and like it's changed my whole family for the better.
Yep.
So what's like the most rewarding thing for you as a fitness coach, instructor, and personal trainer?
Yeah, so like a lot of the times women come to us wanting to lose weight. And I find like that's like a really big barrier between what people actually want to do.
Yes.
Like weight loss is like just such their focus. Like that's all they think about. And I definitely was like in that same spot like when I needed to lose weight or when I thought I needed to lose weight. And then basically like after they lose weight though, you kind of realize that they have all these other goals, which is really cool. It's like, I want to be strong. Like, I want to show my kids what like eating healthy looks like and not falling for these like fad diets and all that kind of stuff. So I think the most rewarding thing is like when someone stops focusing about like what they weigh and they start focusing on like how strong they are, or like their kids are waking them up in the morning to go work out. That is the funniest thing ever. Like you have a 6-year-old holding you accountable. I'm just putting that out there.
I
like,
love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you're 40 and she's like, hey mom, and she's like in her sports bra with her like little kettlebell and she's like, let's go.
That's
And,
so cute.
Right? It's
Yeah.
adorable. So like that kind of stuff is really awesome. So that's kind of like our whole I guess like our whole mission is basically teaching women like what they didn't really know growing up. So a lot of people weren't really educated with nutrition or training. So it's like unwinding everything that they've been taught about fad diets and all that, and then like kind of rebuilding them back up with like different healthy habits, and then having them transfer that to their kids also.
I love what you said about like bringing it back to the family, because I feel like a lot of times there's a generational thing that kind of happens, and people don't have the right resources or tools to get out of that funk or cycle. So the fact that you're giving those tools to this community is absolutely incredible. You use an app, correct?
Yeah, we do have an app. So we have different places. So basically, like if you're working out at home or if you're at the gym, you can follow that program. Or like if you want to come in for training, then we have that as well. Like, so there's a few different options, but for the most part, it's ladies who are like kind of already working out, but they need that structure in order to get to the next level.
Yeah, having that routine and structure is so important. I lose my mind when I don't have it.
Yeah.
So is your mission to solely help women and like women with like families, or are you like more like broad spectrum?
It's pretty broad. Like you don't have to have kids to be like involved in the app or onto the program or in the community. Like the women are very much like supportive of everybody, and like not everybody wants to have kids, which is super cool. Like it's just very like inclusive. It's just like, hey, like we want to lose weight, we want to build muscle. We don't really have any friends that are in with our same goals. They don't have the same mindset. They don't want to do the same thing. So it's like cool because they all come in, and even like at events and stuff, it's very rare where like a group of women can come into a room and there's no like crap, right? Like there's nothing going on. Like they just enjoy each other. They hang out. They're like, oh, hey, like I remember seeing you, all that kind of stuff. So it's like just very like positive without being like toxic positivity.
Yeah.
And then we have like a male trainer who also does like the male side of it, but we keep it separate so that they kind of just feel more comfortable with what's going on.
I completely agree with that. A lot of people don't want to keep it binary, and that's completely acceptable. But for me, I went to Results Gym with Tony Jerezi.
Yep.
And so being surrounded by women working out was like a lot, you know, better for me when I was starting out. Yeah. Just quickly before we head out, what is the best thing about Sarnia in terms of fitness? Like what can you give the audience, like some advice for like resources or tools, like obviously your own, like where can we find you?
So Fit Strategy is the name of our company, and or like Samantha Mills Fitness is like what I'm under on Instagram. And then so we have like so many free resources and tools. We have like free community groups with like workouts, meal plans. Like we give out so much free information because like I've been in a spot where I also couldn't afford training. And so we try and give as much out as possible for free. And then it's like, okay, if that's not working, then like here's the program kind of thing. And then also just like there's so many really amazing like food options. There's a lot of like mom and pop food options, so you don't have to go to a chain restaurant, and you can find something that's like lower calorie if you want. There's also so many parks. There's so many things to do outside. I think it's just a matter of utilizing them. And also like I grew up in Toronto, and there's some organized sports, but Sarnia has a lot of organized sports.
Yes.
So like there's a lot of ways to stay active if you really want to. It's just a matter of looking out and like trying to find something to do.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation so much, so I appreciate it. And thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, anytime. It's fun.
And that's all the time we have for tonight. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Red day when you off. I do have English in my background. Robin Hood was actually in Sherwood Forest when my family owned Sherwood Forest. So I'm so picky, I know. Diva, get me my green M&Ms, please. Oh, I thought you were gonna do a Jar Jar Binks. I was like, get out. Like literally leave this room. And I'm all for people doing what? I lost my train of thought. What is it? Okay, what is it? Am I keeping up or what? Oh, so this is a business drink situation. Here I thought we'd be dancing on tables. We'd be on tables, and here I am having a job evaluation. Excuse me. We are standing up to the man. You know what? America didn't go to the moon. Just gonna say it now. I noticed your hand. That was a disgusting noise. Can you believe it? Someone loves me.